But I do have the right to free speech. And just my little disclaimer at the bottom, the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not reflect the views or positions of any entities that they may represent in their business time. This is fun time. But I kind of have some stuff to do while we just like get here and get acquainted with each other. One, new background, not the permanent background. This is a tapestry in my room, but you know, summer's coming around the corner and they're cleaning the walls. So I had to take stuff down, or I had to start taking stuff down. So I was like, let me just throw this up. That'll be good for now. But I'm not loving how the window is coming through here. So I'm going to put the shade down and then reattach it on top of the shade. So I'm right here. Like, I haven't abandoned you. Fear not. And I have these little magnets for it. We'll just put those right here for now. Oh, or that works. But yeah, we're here to talk about what you see live on your screen. I honestly don't even want to say it because I feel like it's just going to like summon a dark force. Oh, and the dark force being my curtain shape that is stuck. There we go. These are like very much office core. Oh, damn it. I don't know if this will work. Okay, that's fine. That's not going to piss me off too bad. Definitely is going to piss me off a little bit, but not too bad. Okay, just sit down in your fucking seat. Okay. Okay, yeah, I do like that better. Wait, it's not even shut all the way. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is temporary, not meant to be permanent nor perfect, but I do like that a lot better. What was I telling you guys about? Last week was horrible. I think last week when I was on here, I was like flunking out of grad school, question mark. Is that true? This is one of my favorite tapestries, side note. I think it's really pretty. But anyway, accidentally opened Teams instead of Twitch and it was a jump scare in there. God. That was thing to do number one. Thing to do number two is I realized there is the largest gap underneath the door to this room in this house. Let me take a picture of it so you can see. It's like actually astonishing. I don't know how I didn't notice it when we were looking. Don't know how the inspector or the agent, no one noticed. No one noticed. I think that we just assumed a door would be the right size, and what a silly assumption for us to make. Oh my God, there's so many people here. Mike is here. Yes, Mike is back. I told y'all were like, Mike is dead. Mike is not dead. Mike is here. Sweet decorating so far. Upgrades, people, upgrades. A Walmart Corral, thank you for subscribing. Lemur Banana, thank you for resubscribing. Thank you to the follows. Amanda, Lauren Simpson, Madison Shoemaker, SB Tomato Head. They sell things to shove in the door gap. That's what I have that I need to put together right now, because look at the door gap. Do you see that? Tell me you saw that before it like the white balance got off. But yeah, so I bought a little door gap thingy, but apparently you need to put it together, and I realized it was already 7 o'clock, so I was like, they can just be here for that, I think. This had another piece to it. Oh, there it is. So yeah, we're here. Oh, I kicked that. Jody MF25 subscribed. Thank you. So if you didn't already see, next week we have a pretty cool topic. Next week might make some people in real life feel a little bit upset, but how do you think I felt when it happened? You know what I mean? And a lot of them I'm actually not a victim in at all. They're other people's business. I am going to change people's names, but it's going to be random gossip and lore from my life. Lots of things that like old jobs with old coworkers. One thing about my ex-boyfriend from high school. So some of those people might see it and be like, I can't believe she's talking about that. I can't believe you did it. I cannot believe you did it. You are crazy for that, for real. So now I'm going to be here talking about it. And it's like people that it would be weird if I asked permission. Like people I do not know, was never close to, but just some crazy ass shit happened. And I want to tell you guys about it. So why the hell not? Where's the rest of my little foam pieces? This is really giving low budget, I'm going to be honest. And I feel like I'm missing a piece. There was another piece to this. Oh, there it is. Will you be posting it to YouTube? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I will be. Hell yeah. Can we do a stream where we submit our lore for you to react to? Yes, I'm actually working on, and by working on, I mean it's been on the back burner for about a year. a website, and that'll be like a thing on it where you can submit, and I don't know, it'll probably just send to like an email inbox that I make or something. But yeah, let me finish putting this door bullshit together, and then we will get this freaking party started. And tonight is like, even though it's like a serious topic and whatever, I'm like not taking this seriously at all. My fiance was just asking me, he was like, oh, is your stream going to be long tonight? And I was like, I don't know, because it's like a lot of slides, but I really don't think it's going to be that long. And he was like, oh, if it's a lot of slides. And I was like, the stream being long is when I don't shut the fuck up. Like, really, the slides only play so much of a role. Like, they definitely have a role, but it's really just me not shutting the fuck up. And I was like, so topics that I really care about, so it's really important for me to be accurate and, like, nuanced and get everyone's perspective, those topics take me a long time to get through. It fell. But I was like, a topic like this, I don't really care if I say something wrong. Oh, it was this and not that? Good thing you've lied about everything ever. I'm going to tape that back up. Actually, I just realized I have magnets for it. Let me see if this door bullshit works. Okay, yeah, it definitely works. I know what I can do. I can use the magnets to put the thingy up. It definitely works like the door is closed, but I don't know if it's helping the noise. Does it sound less echoey? It sounds a little bit less echoey to me. Do you think your FBI agent is watching tonight? I think my FBI agent probably has to get replaced a lot because they probably get really tired of this and then they quit. That would be my prediction. I can't wait to learn about Panama. Yes, Panama is on there because I know y'all always ask, and it's really not nearly as interesting as you think it's going to be, but it is interesting, I guess. Yes, I love the power of science. Okay. Now I feel like settled and good. Where's my water? Also, I didn't have any Baja Blast today, so I know you might be like, wow, you seem really energetic. I don't know where that's coming from. Truly could not tell you. So let me pull up the right window and let's talk about the many failures of this family. This is not a completely exhaustive list. This is just some mainly business failures. They have so many personal failures that we'll never truly know the emotional depths of. So I'm just gonna stick to what we could find on Wikipedia. Shout out to tonight's FBI intern that's been newly assigned to Redacted. He's like, Mom, I hate this job. This lady's crazy. She makes hours of videos a day. I can't keep up. Like, them having to take notes, I don't think they could keep up. That's the life hack. If you just film yourself 24/7, it's too much for anyone to track. So, we're going to start with him himself. I'm purposefully not using certain wording tonight. I want this to be a safe space. That's why the title is what it is. And this is what I was mentioning. I'm not really that concerned about like image or offensiveness or accuracy or anything like that. So these are the kind of pictures you'll be getting. So he went to the Q Forest School in Queens, New York, but was then sent to the New York Military Academy for behavioral issues, kind of like AJ in The Sopranos. Then he went on to attend Fordham University for 2 years before transferring to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Wharton is like a very prestigious business school, allegedly. He earned a degree in economics in 1968. Great time to be in economics, I guess, that post-war boom. Everyone remember, at your very worst point in life, when you're ready, someone's family has done worse. After graduating, he joined his father's real estate business, which focused primarily on middle-class rentals in New York City. He took on a more prominent role in the company, eventually rebuilding it as the family organization and shifting the focus towards high-profile Manhattan real estate projects. So that is like very, quite the summarization. Like, that's obviously leaving a lot of stuff out. One thing that I wanted to bring up specifically about his education is his transcript. Michael Cohen, who's his former personal lawyer, revealed that directed him to threaten legal action against his high school and colleges and the College Board if they ever released his academic records, including grades and SAT scores. This is the thing that gets me, is like, maybe I'm just jaded because I've only taught in the modern times, and maybe back then, like, admin wasn't afraid of parents. But like if you had money and power at that time, which his family did, your grades couldn't have been that bad. Because like you had access to tutoring and like your parents probably threatened the school a whole bunch of times and like you still failed. Like you had literally everything on your side. Everything. How are your grades still bad? And the thing is, what's your definition of bad? Because if you think about it, I feel like if he had been like a BC student, this wouldn't be as much of an issue. It's the comments he doesn't want out. That's what it is. It's the comments that he doesn't want out. That is my theory. Cohen provided a letter that he wrote for him citing federal laws, FERPA. You'll know me and Fraz do not play about FERPA. And warning the school that it would be held legally liable if they disclosed the records. The letter included a note stating that he had fond memories of Fordham. He's like, great school. It's a great school. I had fond times there. I'm very fond of my time there. That being said, I will sue you if you release any information about when I was there. Great time, great school. Like, he's hiding tests that have the question mark as the only comment. Imagine being 80 and still upset you failed algebra. Where was I? Cohen pointed to the hypocrisy of the actions, noting that he had previously criticized President Obama for not releasing his academic records, while other political figures, including Joe Biden, George W. Bush, and Rick Perry, have had their grades released. I need to see George W. Bush's grades. Sometimes revealing poor performance, Trump has aggressively sought to keep his private. So today in my class, I was actually teaching them about the election of 2000. We did a stream on that if you haven't seen it. It was a really good one. It's actually one of my favorite ones I've ever done. Obviously, that's not what I did with them. We literally did like a little 20-30 minute lesson about it. And it was like, this is how the electoral college works. Let's talk about this crazy time. And so then we just kind of got sidetracked. And I was like, do you guys want to see the video of someone throwing their shoes at George Bush? And they were like, yeah, I do want to see that. And so we watched that and had a good chuckle because the thing about George W. Bush is I genuinely cannot think of another human being on earth who would handle the shoe throw as well as he did. He literally just dodged it, laughed, and then kept going and was like, yeah, that guy wanted attention and now we're talking about it. Like, obviously I'm not a fan of George Bush, but the way that he handled that was like, honestly a masterclass, like very effective. And then I was like, do you guys want to see the video of him talking about terrorism where then he goes, now watch this drive? And they were like, yeah, we do want to see that. And I feel like that was very educational because those were newsworthy events during that time. Now watch me at this drive. Okay. From Google, George W. Bush received, this contact is driving me insane. I actually think it's the lash. George W. Bush received a 77% overall average in his first 3 years at Yale and a similar average in his final year under a non-numerical rating system. His SAT score was 1206 with a 566 on the verbal section and a 640 on math. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in history in 1968. He also earned an MBA from Harvard in 1975. Okay, so like, that's what I was saying. Like, mediocre grades. You don't hide mediocre grades. But let's get into the business failures. We started with school failure and it just continues to go downhill, but also somehow uphill. Airlines. This was a short-lived venture launched in 1989. He acquired the Eastern Air Shuttle and a popular and profitable route that ran between Boston and New York City. He rebranded it as the Him Shuttle. I'm just going to call him Him, aiming to bring luxury and prestige for short-haul air travel. When I think short-haul air travel, I think efficiency, not prestige, but that's just me. What would I know? The planes were upgraded with gold fixtures, plush interiors, blah, 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 blah. Super bougie. Very much his style. The business struggled almost immediately. Despite the upgrades, passengers were not willing to pay more for what is essentially a 45-minute flight, and they faced stiff competition from other airlines. Additionally, they were burdened with high debt from the purchase, and they were hit very hard when rising fuel prices and the downturn in the airline industry. Just 3 years after they launched, they ceased operations, and it became a financial loss and is often cited as one of his business failures. So probably the same bribe as the plane from Qatar. Can we all agree that plane is full of listening devices? Because why wouldn't it be? And not even any shade to Qatar on that. I don't really know that much about Qatar, but and I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but anyone would do that. Because if you don't even want it for yourself, you know you can sell it for a crazy amount of money. So I just feel like, and when we added this in here, this was before the airplane thing happened. We made this a week ago. Security, no, I'm kind of stupid, and even I saw that one. And when I say I'm kind of stupid, what I mean is I can never tell when people are trying to fuck me over. I just never notice somehow. And even I'm seeing that one. And I'm very oh, that's so nice of you to give me a plane. So, the Taj Mahal. This was supposed to be a lavish casino and resort in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I have never been to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Would love to go one day. A KFC parking lot, thanks for subscribing. Right now I'm watching Boardwalk Empire, which takes place in Atlantic City in the 1920s. Do not spoil it. I just started season 2. Very good show. I think I brought this up last week. I've been bringing it up every day at school. No one's watching it, and it's a good show. Another great show you should be watching, Deadwood. Finished Deadwood, great. Haven't watched the movies. Okay, so anyway, it opened in April 1990. It was the most expensive casino ever built at the time, costing nearly $1 billion American dollars. It had grandiose towers, a massive gaming floor, tacky, new money type of look that he loves. The project was heavily financed through high-interest junk bonds. I don't know what that means, but that does not sound good. High interest junk bonds. Lots of red flags there. High interest in junk, kind of turning me off. Making it extremely vulnerable to economic downturns and revenue shortfalls. I want to know what high interest junk bonds are. High interest junk bonds. Load, please. These are debt instruments used by companies with lower credit ratings, offering investors higher yields than investment-grade bonds to compensate for the risk default. Junk bonds are issued by companies with a higher... Okay. Including junk bonds can provide diversification as they might not always move in sync. There's a credit risk. The performance of junk bonds is closely tied to the overall health of the economy. So basically, it's just a riskier way to invest, and it's what companies with shitty credit do. Did you know companies have credit scores? I never knew that. Actually, I did know that. I guess I learned it at a normal person time to learn that. When I was 18, I got that job at the hotel that I've talked about before. And they were they do an orientation where they talk to you about the company culture. I actually learned so much at that job. But they were talking to us about how we're a luxury brand and never hesitate to spend money on a guest. If it can be better, spend the money. And one of the examples they gave is they were the money comes back to us because our company had such a high credit rating that we were able to get Mercedes instead of Toyotas for our Sprinter vans for the entire company worldwide. And it was actually cheaper. So they were saying us doing the luxury thing is not necessarily always more expensive. So if you have an idea, please come forward with it because it might be more doable than you think. I really I hated working there because I worked 12, 13 hours a day in the sun, but I loved working there. I learned so much. He should have worked there. He probably would have learned more. So anyway, they do these risky ass investments to start it. Financial trouble began almost immediately. They generated significant revenue, but not enough to cover their enormous debt. Just months after opening, they declared bankruptcy, making it the first of several bankruptcies closely tied to his casinos. Around the same time, he was entangled in a legal controversy involving a business analyst who had predicted that the Taj Mahal would fail by the end of the year. He threatened to sue the analyst firm unless the prediction was retracted, but the analyst stood by his statement. Then he was subsequently fired, allegedly for unrelated reasons. In late 1990, the analyst sued him for $2 million for defamation. They settled the case out of court, and though the exact terms were not disclosed, the New York Stock Exchange later ordered the analyst the analyst's former firm to pay him $750,000. I love that that guy stood by it. So basically where our country seems to be heading. Exactly. Miss not retract. I don't know if I want to watch this, but I guess we'll see.
Forget rock stars, forget movie stars. They have been eclipsed by a man whose greatest talent is making and spending money.
Is it? So he's literally been this way the whole time. Got it.
This week, Donald Trump is opening his $1 billion Taj Mahal casino in Atlantic
This is back
City.
when he was like
Some economists call it a reckless gamble, but the
important.
customers we talk to seem to like it just fine.
This is truly the eighth wonder of the world.
Likely thing for a gambling addict to say.
We think the Taj Mahal is beyond belief from any standpoint, and we think it's going to be a tremendous success.
Despite the lavish layout,
people who want to gamble are not willing to pay more to gamble under a chandelier. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the fatal flaw that no one thought of, I guess.
Identify with Donald Trump. He's a success story. He's rich. He's brash. He's successful. He owns the world. He's everybody's dream.
That may be overstating it.
What if we all file bankruptcy at once? Why let the rich have all the fun?
Some reports even speculated he had used his personal trials to generate publicity. Trump strongly denies that.
Unfortunately, the divorce
Stupid little
created
face.
more of a hoopla for a building.
I can't comprehend that this is the background of the United States president, but okay.
It's not the greatest thing in the world. And I don't
Also,
like
half the
capitalizing
casinos in
on
AC are
divorce.
nicer than
Divorce is a
his.
negative thing.
You had to explain.
Would love to go to
children.
AC
I'm sure
one
that was
day.
very difficult.
It's difficult, but we keep the children insulated.
The
We
Taj
keep the
Mahal
girls
is a
from
grand
television.
monument
We're
for a
young enough
royal
to
wife.
think
This
that
man's
what's
casino is
happening
not
there.
on par with
And
its
the children
namesake.
are great.
That's why she said, the eighth wonder of the world.
No.
But
It is a
the press
casino
works
in
to your
Atlantic
advantage
City.
in the sense
Like,
that
let's
you can
settle
use the
down.
press now because you are famous and you are a marketable commodity.
Okay, I think I get it. I don't care. So here's the pictures of it. Like, it is nice, but like $1 billion? I don't think $1 billion? The real Taj Mahal. Now, why am I in? That was funny. Wait, I want to screenshot it with your earlier comment too. Oh, incredible. Why does he always look ill? Diet, no damn exercise. The Plaza Hotel. This was going to be a prestigious 36-story luxury hotel located at 5th Avenue in Central Park. Purchased it in 1988 for $407 million from the Hilton Corporation, rebranded it with his name, and positioned it as a high-end destination meant to rival the best hotels in the world. Despite its prime location and extravagant upgrades, he struggled financially from the start. Factors contributing: over-leveraging, underperformance, and lavish spending. He spent heavily on luxury renovations and decor, but it did not translate into sustainable profitability. I've seen so many people make that mistake in business. I most often see it when people open restaurants. People always want to spend a lot on the decor for their restaurants that they open. And the thing about owning a restaurant, I've never owned one, but I've worked in a lot. I've worked in some that were extremely successful, some that were not successful, ended up closing, and one that transferred owners and became successful because they were like in financial ruin. So like, I've seen some shit and I know how to ask good questions. I digress though. The profit margins in restaurants are this fucking thin. So thin. So any money that you are spending needs to be directly tied to your profit. So like paying for extra staff, that is tied to your profit. You can handle more customers, whatever. Square footage of the restaurant. This is the place I worked at that someone purchased and then like made some changes to make it more financially sustainable. They cut the restaurant in half and sold the other half of the building to someone because they were not using all their space and they were spending so much money on rent. So they just like made the restaurant half, built out a much nicer patio, and had roughly the same seating availability, paying half in rent. Half. So yeah, you just have to be very careful about how you're spending money in a restaurant, and people are not willing to pay more for food to be in good decor. They are up to a certain point, but when you start getting into designer, this type of light fixture, no. Baby, no. Pick out some nice stuff that people are comfortable, it looks clean, it looks pretty, and like call it a day. Because that's the other thing. At hotels and at restaurants, shit breaks all of the time. So if you have crazy expensive stuff, not only is it expensive the first time you pay for it, it's going to continue to be expensive because you're going to have to keep repairing it. Like this one hotel, the hotel that I worked at, we had these bar stools that were so fucking expensive, but that hotel was crazy profitable, so no one cared. But every time one of them broke, it was like we had to call this special guy because they were like custom and he would fucking fix it, but he would take forever. It was horrible. And they ended up getting rid of the stools. I actually took some of them and they're at my parents' house, but I think they might have gotten rid of them. Anyway, moving on. 3 years after the purchase, the hotel was unable to meet its debt obligations. He filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on the hotel. This was not a personal bankruptcy, but a restructuring deal specifically for the hotel. Don't know why that's allowed. He had to give 49% stake in the hotel to lenders in exchange for some relief on the debt, relinquish day-to-day control, but he was allowed to remain as a figurehead or symbolic chairman. Kind of like up the country. And creditors took operational control. He lost most of his equity in the property. Despite having his name on the building, he no longer controlled the hotel, and it remained a financial disappointment. 2004, more hotels and casinos. This was a public company he founded in the mid-1990s to consolidate his Atlantic City and other casinos under a single corporate umbrella. So let's take all these failing businesses and put them together. So it was a couple different ones. The company was meant to strengthen the gambling empire and raise capital while still allowing him to maintain control, but it was struggling under, again, a crushing load of debt, much of it accumulated through junk bonds, again, and excessive borrowing, again. The properties were flashy but underperforming. Atlantic City's gambling market was increasingly competitive and in decline. Despite periods of restructuring efforts, including debt swaps and management changes, the company was unable to produce enough revenue to meet its obligations. He continued to draw attention to the properties by branding them with his name and maintaining a high public profile, but financial analysts increasingly viewed the company as over-leveraged and unsustainable. Sounds like a lot of his life. If we're being honest, my nose is so stuffy. And there's still like, sorry if you heard that. I was trying to turn my water, but there's still like Sour Patch Kid dust. I hate pollen. So, November 2004, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They had $1.8 billion in debt. They had to give up, again, he had to give up majority ownership in exchange for debt relief. His stake was reduced to 27%. He stepped down as CEO, but still remains as chairman. And it was renamed to his entertainment resorts in 2005. So pretty much all of these have the exact same kind of vibe. I guess this could have been a short PowerPoint. This was a board game. I don't know how you fuck up a board game. This was launched in 1989 and 2004 apparently. So in 1989, capitalizing on his fame as a rising real estate mogul and media personality, this was a game published and developed by Milton Bradley. It was meant to be a rival of Monopoly, but him-themed, and the tagline was, "It's not whether you win or lose, but whether you win." That's a horrible tagline. The game involved players buying and selling properties. Despite heavy marketing, it only sold about 800,000, and then in 2004, the massive popularity of The Apprentice kind of changed things. So Parker Brothers re-released the game in a revised division, including the iconic phrase, "You're fired." Plastering it on the box, they tried to rebrand the game as more accessible and entertainment focused to ride the TV success, but the relaunch also failed and the 2004 version was discontinued as well. This is the game. I hate his like fuck ass signature. You know what I mean? It just pisses me off. And this contact is really also pissing me off. Oh, did I fix it? I don't think so. I don't feel like it's the lash because I've had the lashes on all day and they weren't bothering me earlier. His tower in Tampa. This was supposed to be a luxury skyscraper, and these are not far apart. Like, the hits just keep coming. It was going to be 190 luxury condo units, high-end restaurant and retail, and exclusive amenities like a health club and private elevators. Units were supposed to be between 700,000 to over 6 million, and many were pre-sold based on the strength of the brand. Who the fuck was paying $6 million to live in Tampa, Florida in 2005? Be so for real. So, the project never broke ground because of financial mismanagement, rising construction costs, and then the housing market crashed in 2007, if you didn't know that. So they halted the project, and buyers who had put down deposits were left without condos. Lawsuits followed, and again, Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Even though he had no direct investment in the construction, his name was used in the marketing materials. So when it failed, some buyers sued him, alleging that he had misrepresented his involvement. So he countersued the building company for, which is SimDag, sounds like a slur, for unpaid licensing fees, and they later settled. He tried to distance himself from the project, asserting that he had only licensed his name and was not liable for its collapse. Sounds interesting. This building looks a lot like a building in Miami, but it's a different color, but the architecture style is very the same. I wonder if it was like similar people working on it. So this was supposed to be a mortgage thing. This was also short-lived. It was supposed to offer high-end elite mortgage services. That is literally complete bullshit. They positioned themselves as a full-service residential and commercial mortgage broker firm, promising clients competitive rates and excellent service. He appointed E.J. Ridings as CEO, who had been publicly promoted as a Wall Street veteran with significant financial experience. The business quickly unraveled again. If you're noticing a theme, all of them are pretty quick. So maybe this one will be quick too. It doesn't feel quick. It's been a while. So, unraveled due to poor leadership, mismanagement, and market timing. So, CEO misrepresentation. It had been revealed that the CEO exaggerated his credentials. The market collapsed in 2007. And apparently the company had poor organization, high staff turnover, and lacked clear operational strategy. Within a year, it ceased operations. This is a website. GoHim.com was a travel website as an attempt to enter the online travel booking industry. The site was a partnership between his organizations and the technology provider for Priceline, which is G2 Switchworks. It was promoted as a luxury-focused alternative. This is what the business is every time. Luxury alternative, invested too much, got into too much debt, failed. Luxury alternative, invested too much, got into too much debt, failed. That has happened like 6 fucking times, and we're only like a third of the way through this presentation, or a fourth. He really had everything but talent and morals, or drive, or intelligence, or the ability to learn lessons. So, it had personal endorsements and travel recommendations. It tried to offer a curated travel experience. But again, people are not willing to pay for something like that. They can figure out the fancy hotels on their own. So the website was shut down by 2007, barely a year after their launch. Lack of differentiation. The site offered the same thing as the other websites. You can just like filter by price and get the high-end pricing. Over reliance on branding, market saturation, and weak consumer response, i.e. no one used it. So this is what the website about it. Sorry, I have to get close because I can't fucking see anything. I love a great deal. At GoHim.com, I have negotiated the best rates for thousands of hotels and vacation packages. The best rates to ensure you are getting the lowest online rate. You will also find terrific information. It's the best information on car rentals, flights, and vacation packages. Why is he not centered in that photo? It's not hard. My site is user-friendly. Some say it's the most user-friendly and incorporates a lot of great features like Google Maps. You may have heard of it. You can see that the areas that surrounds your hotel before booking it. I also have in my He Picks section, I found the best of the best hotels. You transform mid-sentence like his ghost possessed you. The best of the best hotels so you can travel in my style. I only put my name on the best. The best hotels, all the other hotels are shit. So that means you have shit hotels on your website? Explain that. At GoHim.com, you will get the best information and the best online rate available. That sounds like it was written by ChatGPT, but this is from 2006, so I guess it wasn't. What does it mean to travel him style? It means you can go anywhere, anytime, without restrictions or limitations. That ain't true anymore, is it? Traveling him style means that you travel how you want, when you want, paying only the lowest online rate. I don't like to hear no when it comes to my travel plans, and at GoHim.com, you call all the shots. GoHim.com will ensure that you're getting the lowest online rate available, Book with GoHim.com and get ready to travel in him style. Literally horrible. Literally horrible. Wait, have we talked about him not renting to black people yet? I'm late. I don't believe that's in here because this is about his financial failures, not his failures as like a human being a decent person. So like I said, I wanted to keep it light, but maybe one day we will have a stream about his serious misgivings. There are plenty of them. We did talk about how he was briefly involved in real estate, but I don't think that situation had a Chapter 11 bankruptcy in it. We're more talking about things that are less depressing, like steaks, which is somehow still depressing. That stream would need 2 parts. That stream would need its own dedicated day of the week. So this was a branded line of premium beef products launched in 2007. The brand slogan was the world's greatest steaks, and he personally endorsed the products in commercials and ads, often tying them to his persona of luxury, success, and indulgence. The steaks were primarily sold through Sharper Image, better known for electronics and novelty items. They were also briefly available via QVC. Nothing says luxury like buying meat from QVC. I know I feel luxurious when I do that. They offered a range of premium cuts of meat. New York strip is a personal favorite of mine. They were sold in bundles with packages ranging from 200 to 1,000. The meat was supplied by Buckhead Beef, which is a respected meat purveyor, and they branded with his name to emphasize exclusivity and luxury. I don't know why people keep partnering with him. It was discontinued about 2 months after its launch. Wasn't he at this time publicly not eating red meat? Oh my God, is that true? I didn't know that. Limited appeal, low demand, high price point, and wrong retail channel. Sharper Image is not known for selling food, let alone expensive raw meat, so customers were confused and disinterested. They want sweaters. They don't want $200 steaks. They want sweaters. Look at his stupid little face. The Sharper Image. This water is hitting right now. My stomach has been in like shambles all day, I think because I hadn't had any water yesterday. So I didn't have my Baja Blast today. I think I already mentioned that. I miss it. My stomach just hurt, and I felt like putting Baja Blast in a stomach that hurts is not good. Oh, God, I hate them so much. It's like exposure therapy.
When it comes to great steaks, I've just raised the stakes. The Sharper Image is one of my favorite stores with fantastic products of all kinds. That's why I'm thrilled they agree with me. Trump steaks are the world's greatest steaks, and I mean that in every sense of the word.
He sounds like he's giving a school presentation and reading off cue cards.
You can buy them. Trump steaks are by far the best tasting, most flavorful beef you've ever had. Truly in a league of their own.
Yeah, we're not watching this. Bye. The Ocean Resort in Baja, Mexico. So this was a proposed luxury condominium and hotel announced in 2006 between him and a group of California developers. It was located just south of San Diego in Baja California, Mexico. Baja California, Mexico. I always forget. There's that piece that's south of California. Y'all know what I'm talking about? We have a map over here now. I don't think I can turn my computer that far to see Mexico. I could probably show you Florida. Anyway, you'll see it eventually. Where was I? It was supposed to consist of 3 towers with 500 units offering hotel services and high-end amenities, panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. Pre-construction units were sold for $300,000 to over $1 million, based heavily on the perceived value of the brand. Why does the brand have perceived value? That's what I'm struggling with. The project was aggressively marketed using his name, which gave buyers the impression he was directly involved with the development and the financing. Even if he was. They collapsed by 2009 because he did not invest any capital. He just licensed his name. They had developer problems, the 2008 housing crash, and then buyer lawsuits when it collapsed, saying, again, we were misled. I guess they didn't see what happened in 2006 in Tampa. He said, I was not a developer. I was a promoter. It's always a promoter and some bullshit.
This is our kitchen. This is where I spend most of the time, especially if we have wine.
Mike and Sylvia Rodriguez enjoy their vacation condo in Tijuana once or twice a month.
A little bit cold today.
Their Trump Ocean Resort Baja condo was supposed to look like this.
It was supposed to.
Resort is a place to arrive and relax. A place where your every need is taken care of.
But the resort, planned for a few minutes away in 2007, was never built.
Big windows.
Kind of crazy how 20 years later he
After
villainizes
Trump
Mexico
began to rise
after
in the
trying to sell it
primaries,
as a paradise in
leaders
luxury.
felt obligated to speak up. They believe American voters are under the same spell they were under, and that they're going to be disappointed too.
We were like the people that follow him now, you know. I didn't question anything he said or did, you know, because, he was Donald Trump.
The Rodriguez couple lives in Madera, California. They recently celebrated Sylvia's 65th birthday up there with a Donald Trump piñata.
You'll see.
They're kind of iconic.
I had some friends that
These people seem fun.
Poking out his eyes.
we wanted to
Poking
express
out his
our
eyes.
feelings and vent our anger, you know, on that dummy.
Mike is a retired real estate broker. When he heard Trump was building a resort in Tijuana, he dropped all of his defenses. Trump was a famous billionaire. He was sure it was a solid investment.
All the literature and brochures we had indicated that he was a developer.
One of the things I most love about this project is the fact that it's
Dazlo, thanks for subscribing.
Baja is one of the really hot places.
That's in stark contrast to what Trump says about Mexico now.
We're gonna build a wall.
This is a good receipt
Condos were
video.
sold at lavish San Diego parties. After the project failed, Trump announced he was not a co-developer, that he'd only leased the rights to his name.
So, in your father's words,
It's scary, you know. It's very scary. And if what's even worse is there's millions and millions of people that follow him, you know, and believe in him, you know.
Yes,
like we
that's
did.
the saddest part.
Just like we did, you know.
I literally
All
want to
they
hang
got
out
in
with
exchange
them.
for their money was this tequila bottle and this bag with Trump's name on it.
Stop.
That's all we got right there.
That's all we got for them.
Yeah. So.
After they'd paid a
Rodriguez
deposit.
took us to another home they own right across from the proposed Trump site.
That used to be the office over there.
Now it's just a hole in the ground.
That's where,
Yeah, that's the
Not them
Part of
leaving the hole in the
was caused
ground.
By the failure of the project.
Originally, it was an ecstasy that Trump was coming.
Victor Loza was the head of the Baja Real Estate Council when the Trump Resort was announced.
Trump Ocean Resort is more than an experience. It is an opportunity.
He says northern
God,
Baja
I
leaders
hate
used the
contacts.
project to market the region to tourists and investors. When the developers vanished, Americans became wary of buying property south of the border.
Absolutely, he did damage the reputation of Baja.
Yeah.
Other developments failed
Like the
too,
Parks and Rec
during the
hole.
2008 financial crisis. But Loza says it was the collapse of such a high-profile project that had the biggest impact.
I want to go to the beach.
Also, a wave of violence gripped the region then, worsening the situation.
That would worsen the situation, a wave of violence. This is just classic real estate scum bad behavior. Real estate is like the nastiest business. It's such a red flag ass
The proposed
business.
Trump site still stands, featuring pictures of Trump and models of the towers, plus a state Ministry of Tourism certificate applauding the project.
Yikes.
we can't go in.
During a recent KPBS visit, a security guard appeared
Hola, buenos días.
and told us to turn off the camera.
You can still pay for security.
¿Es
Impressive.
de Donald Trump esto?
Is that it? That was
He says this is Donald Trump's property and we can't pass.
okay.
Trump never
It's
owned
not,
the property,
though.
and it has since been sold. But asked the name of his boss, the security guard said he only knew Trump's name.
They invest in me, they invest in what I build.
Interesting.
And that's why I'm so excited about Trump Ocean Resort. This is going to be something very...
That's crazy as fuck that like security's there and only knows his name. That is crazy as fuck. So then he made a magazine, originally launched it as His World, but rebranded it in 2007, published by Ocean Drive Media Group under a licensing agreement with the organization, marketed toward high-end net worth individuals, particularly readers in New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. Each issue was filled with ads for watches, private jets, high-end cars, luxury real estate, and fashion brands. It was promoted as an insider's guide to his lifestyle. Most of those high-end magazines are just ads, but I guess most magazines are just ads. So the magazine folded in 2009, just 2 years after its relaunch due to several issues, the 2008 crisis, niche appeal, over branding. It was more self-promotion than substance, not any journalism in there, and licensing limitations. Like many ventures, they did not organize, or the organization did not directly manage the magazine, which operated by a third party under a licensing agreement. So he did not have much editorial or operational control. What kills me is my dad, a contractor, complains about shady developers who never pay their contractors and then turns around and votes for Trump. At least he created you, I guess. This is the magazine. It's literally just a him magazine. Like, that's the whole shtick. Ice. He created a brand of bottled water aiming to capitalize in the luxury beverage market. The brand was marketed as high-end premium bottled water sourced from an exclusive spring in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York. It was a symbol of wealth and exclusivity. They struggled to gain market share and eventually failed in 2010. Over-reliance on branding again, market saturation again, always entering a market that there's way too many people in and thinking that because you are who you are, you're just like somehow going to be that bitch. Not the white cap. You're fucking lying. I had not seen this before. That's so much worse than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was at least going to look like Evian or like a pretty bottle. That is a bottle of like Poland Springs that they slapped a new label on. What do you mean from the mountains in New York? Like, look at the cap and look at the quality of the plastic. And look at the quality of the label. That shiny ass label. Not even a matte label. You couldn't even make a fucking matte label. That's so the bare minimum. Ice. When you freeze it, it becomes ice, man. Icy. This one is very well known. His university. This was, oh, sorry. I hate this desk. I'm so excited to get my other desk in here in a couple weeks. The mountains of New York is killing me. Had to be New York. This was launched in 2005 before his political time. This is when he was still in real estate. So the venture was initially framed as an educational enterprise that would share his personal insights into real estate success, investing, and entrepreneurship. It is not a university in the traditional sense. It is not accredited, does not offer degrees, and did not confirm the standards required by educational institutions, but it still carried a sense of prestige, which proved to be central to its marketing and the controversy that would follow. At its peak, they offered seminars, workshops, and mentorship for people who wanted to succeed in real estate. It was taught by his hand-picked instructors, and these claims played a crucial role in persuading people to enroll. The elite mentorship cost $35,000 and was sold with the suggestion that it offered exclusive access to gain expert guidance and insider techniques. He's kind of giving Jen Shaw, if you think about it. It's like very Jen Shaw coded. Jono055, thank you for following. It fell short of the promises, and many former students said that most of the information was generic and you can find it on books or online. Investigations revealed that the instructors were not picked by him and often lacked notable real estate experience. In many cases, courses functioned more like sales funnels, where introductory seminars served primarily to upsell more expensive packages, and job loss, financial insecurity, or personal ambition were exploited in order to pressure people into signing up for increasingly costly programs. Anytime you are paying for a program and it's not accredited, they're probably taking advantage of you. I think that's true, like probably 85% of the time. Like, it's usually just a grift where they prey on people's vulnerabilities. So, the deceptive nature began attracting attention from regulators and the public. The New York State Department of Education warned that the organization was operating without a license to use the word university. It was eventually forced to change their name to his Entrepreneur Initiative. More seriously, in 2013, the New York Attorney General filed a $40 million civil lawsuit against the company and him personally, accusing them of persistent, fraudulent, illegal, and deceptive conduct. The lawsuit argued that it had misled consumers, making false promises, operating more as a scam than a legitimate educational institution. Multiple class action lawsuits followed, brought by former students in several states. They said they were tricked into enrolling through deceptive marketing, received little value from the programs, and were misled by the use of his name and image. Throughout the legal battles, he denied all wrongdoing, calling the lawsuits politically motivated and defending the integrity of the program. He even attacked judges involved in the case, including Judge Gonzalo Cruel, drawing criticism from what many saw as racially charged comments. Yeah, that tracks. What it was really like. This contact is driving me crazy.
Success. That's what it's all about. Success. It's going to happen to you.
This wasn't your average college student, even though there were some of them that were young enough. These are middle-aged students. These are the single housewives where their husband had passed away. These are the people that wanted to make a difference in their life through real estate. And Donald Trump's ads and videos on YouTube and everything is, you too can be rich in real estate. You could be a millionaire. And what a person. Everybody believed it. These people were taking their life savings, or some cases life savings, or taking their retirements, and some of them were even maxing out their credit cards.
Like, why does it feel like there's sand in my eye?
To get that coaching, the infield, some retreats. You heard of Donald Trump and you thought real estate empire, self-made man. And then I came up from Florida in the interviewing process. Realized that, in the beginning, a lot of people asked me questions about real estate transactions, real estate deals, state laws, real estate contract laws. It was pretty much easy to answer, but I felt like from my get-go, I was teaching and educating the people that actually worked there. I was delusioned at the time because I thought to myself, what kind of business does this Trump you is, and what kind of business is it? And especially when it seems like no one inside that's interviewing me really knows real estate. They picked me to actually work as their inside house coach, mentor. And at that point in time, it wasn't totally honest what was going on. In the beginning, I admired Trump. In the beginning, I actually looked forward to working for him. I loved working with the students. I loved being in the advisor position. It wasn't until I started noticing things where they started attending these live events, because I would get phone calls from students saying, well, I was taught this at this live event in New York City or in Texas or in Florida. And at that point in time, I was like, well, you can't do that. That's illegal in your state. So then I went to Michael Sexton and the owners.
This guy's just trying to do his job.
And I said to them, somebody needs to go and audit these live events because I think something's being taught not kosher or illegal. So I was the guy who had to be attending those live events. And they took that and they used it to do more upsells and sells and all. And I was the inside guy coming back thinking to myself, these people don't really know real estate. They're sharks in the water and they're just high-pressured salespeople. So I was credentialed and I had to prove it. Why didn't they have to prove it? And here we found out later through the subpoenas and through the whole entire court process that I went through is that they weren't and that they were lying. And through the students calling me in and telling me through the hotlines, that's when we realized that, this is not going to go far.
The logo kills me too. So lame. I have to sneeze. I feel that I hate having to sneeze. So, his network. This sold items like vitamin supplements, weight loss programs, and personalized health kits. Who's looking at him as a beacon of health? So, the flagship product was called Privatest. This was a urine test that was supposedly allowed for customized supplement plans based on the user's biochemistry. This was an MLM, and he did not invest his own money or manage it directly, but again, licensed his name and described it as a golden opportunity. The jokes are writing themselves, and they're all horrible. It seems like his MO is just kind of licensing his name. Like, he's like, if all else fails, I'll license my name to anyone. Like, he has no standards. It's giving ran through. It's giving horror. It collapsed by 2011, just 2 years after their launch. Key reasons for failure include over-reliance on branding, poor product credibility, medical professionals questioned the scientific basis, and they did not have FDA approval. Okay, Elizabeth Holmes. And because it was an MLM, and as the company struggled, he quietly pulled his name from the venture, and then they got absorbed into another company, and then they were kind of over. Here, I'm uncensoring it. Has he had an MLM yet? This is the MLM, but it's not even his MLM, so it's kind of a knockoff if you think about it. The Vodka. This was produced by Drinks America. Again, licensed his name. Target market was his fans and luxury consumers, particularly in the US and Eastern Europe. The bottle design was a tall, clear bottle with a gold rim and his name prominently displayed, and they were trying to compete with Grey Goose or Belvedere, using his name as the differentiator. Your name is not a differentiator. Grey Goose and Belvedere are very, very well-established vodka brands that have been around for a very long time. You can go all over the world and get Grey Goose and Belvedere, and you really thought you were going to be that bitch? Despite the flashy marketing, they quickly failed and production ceased in 2011. Key reasons that he has been public about abstaining from alcohol. Is that true? I didn't know that. He doesn't drink? This is him sober? Okay. Licensing only model, overestimated demand. Shocker. People didn't want it. They owed over $2.8 million in unpaid royalties and had difficulty keeping up with marketing and distribution costs. And then international complications. Although it had some niche popularity in places like Israel and Russia, licensing and distribution issues limited international success. In some markets, production was inconsistent or stalled entirely. This is a vodka. Ugly bottle. It's ugly. It's ugly and it's stupid. And does he really not drink? Can someone please look that up and confirm that for me? Oh my God, not them trying it on BuzzFeed.
Yeah, there it is.
You drink enough of that, everything's gonna be great again.
Okay, Kendall Jenner.
So BuzzFeed apparently spent $200 on this discontinued Trump vodka so that we could drink it today.
This? You spent $200 on Trump vodka?
The label is bad. That looks like it was done with a cricket, but I've actually seen better things made with crickets. And then the contrast, it's just horrible.
I didn't know Trump had a vodka.
I guess he kind of looks like he just took a shot. This is his skin color.
This is new BuzzFeed. Who are these people?
Bottled by, what is it? The Netherlands. That's not America.
It's probably going to taste like misogyny.
Inequality.
This vodka is going to taste like self-tanner.
It's rumored he doesn't drink for antipsychotics or heart meds. I would believe each of those.
Do I have to do all that? That was a lot.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can do that.
I hate taking shots. It's something I refuse to do.
Cheers.
I'm so afraid.
That is surprisingly good.
Ooh, that burns like a UTI.
Trump vodka, putting the T back into UTI.
Okay, it's 3 minutes.
Trump's entire candidacy is based on a lie. I'm really a good businessman. I'm so good at business. Oh, not true. Trump is a business failure. Almost every business he's touched, he's driven into the ground.
Upstream about BuzzFeed? I'm not against that.
I've just raised the stakes. Trump's steaks are the world's greatest steaks, and the Sharper Image is the only store where you can buy them.
According to Sharper Image's then CEO, they literally sold almost no steaks.
Trump had a failed board game.
My new game is Trump, the game. Trump, the game, because it's not what you win or lose, it's whether you win.
I hate that slogan. I'm not over that.
Bicycle race called Tour de
A
Trump.
bicycle race?
A failed football team.
It's gonna stay strong. It's gonna stay strong for a long time.
Trump decided it was a good idea to start a mortgage company in 2006.
There's so many. See, I told you this wasn't an exhaustive list.
That failed in less than 2 years. Let's see, what else was there?
Whatever happened to Trump Airlines?
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh,
Those
it's
planes had a
laggy.
crash landing within the first 2 months, which he insisted was the most beautiful landing you've ever seen. The business failed within 3 years.
How about Trump University?
Failed.
And then there's Trump Magazine.
Failed.
Trump Vodka.
Failed.
Trump Travel, Trump Ice, Trump Network.
Failed, failed, failure. Trump has even managed to bankrupt multiple casinos. How do you lose money running a casino? There's an old joke that the easiest way to make a small fortune is to start with a large one. And that's exactly what Trump did. Multiple analyses
show that if Trump had simply invested his multi-million-dollar inheritance
So embarrassing.
in an index fund and didn't touch it, he'd be a lot richer than he is now.
That's hilarious.
And think about that. His entire
That is
life's
hilarious.
work has been less successful than if he'd done nothing.
That
And
is
when he was president,
diabolical.
Trump ran the country like he ran his failed businesses. He added $8.4 trillion to the national debt, largely through his tax cuts for the rich and big corporations.
Okay, now they're kind of getting into stuff that is important but is depressing. Let's move on from the big orange man to his children, who are also failures and adults, so I feel comfortable talking shit about them. It's Frozen. No. Do I have an Ethernet cord? I don't think so. Can I plug? I don't know. I'll give it a few seconds. I'm really angry about my contact, and it's making me feel very, weird. I kind of want to take it out, but I don't know where my glasses are. Yeah, it's definitely not in there, right? Maybe it's inside out or something. Let's go ahead and talk about his kids. Let's talk about these dumbass kids. So, his eldest son, and the eldest son from the first wife, Ivana, was born in 1977. He went to the Hill School, which is a prestigious boarding school in Pennsylvania. I guess his dad hated him, so sent him to boarding school. After he graduated from high school, he went to the Wharton School of Business like his dad, where he earned a Bachelor's of Science in Economics in 2000, the same business school his father attended. During his college years, he was known for living a more low-key lifestyle than you might expect. After graduation, he spent time in Colorado, reportedly working as a bartender and enjoying outdoors before eventually joining the organization full-time. His education at Wharton gave him a formal background in business and finance, which he later used to take on an executive role in the family business. So, failed business venture bailout. The venture in question is a company called Titan Atlas Manufacturing. But now it's just kind of bad. I think it's working better now. See, I don't know. Is it lagging because the president's name was said? Probably. They said, you're done. Cut the cameras. So anyway, the company is called Titan Atlas Manufacturing. This was supposed to be modular housing and steel framing based in South Carolina. They're trying to bring manufacturing back, and it's not working. Junior was a board member and a minor investor in the company, which originally presented a way to create affordable hurricane-resistant housing and American manufacturing jobs. Titan Atlas claimed they could revolutionize construction by mass-producing modular homes faster and cheaper than traditional methods. The company promoted its mission as both patriotic and innovative, which helped attract early investors, especially aligned with the politics. Despite the hype, they struggled with poor management, production delays, inability to secure large contracts, mounting debts, and unpaid bills. By 2018, the company was collapsing financially. Junior and other stakeholders attempted to keep the business afloat, but the losses were severe and they required a bailout from a politically connected investor, reportedly with ties to donors and supporters of the family. Even with the last-minute infusion of cash, the business ultimately failed, leaving behind lawsuits and unpaid creditors. Soho fraud investigation. Soho was located in Hudson Square, so not even in Soho, it's just outside of Soho. It was a 46-story condo hotel where buyers could purchase units and then use them part-time, with the rest of the time they were available for hotel guests. The project was developed by Bayrock, led by Felix Sater and the Sabre organization, with him licensing his name and publicly promoting the project. His children, Ivanka and Junior, were also deeply involved in marketing the project. In a 2008 report surfaced that him and his children misled potential buyers by overstating how many units had been sold. They said they had sold 50 to 60% of units, when in reality it was only 15 to 20%. I took stream into not even a deep forest and keep losing signal on YouTube now, and now Twitch is working for once. iPhone storage, you're the strongest soldier. So this misrepresentation was significant because real estate investors often rely on such figures to assess the financial health and popularity. Inflated sales numbers can artificially boost confidence and drive further purchases. So like when I worked in real estate and we would have condo people come, because when they're building a condo, they sell them before they build it. So they would come and they'd be like, we have 80 units, we've sold 27 of them. Or like we have 50 units, we've sold 42 of them. So like it kind of gives you a sense of like, is this project going to go through? Because if they sold all of them, that means they probably have enough money to fund the project. But if they've not sold any of them, it's kind of like, you probably don't have enough money. Investigation. The Manhattan DA's office and the New York Attorney General's office did investigations on whether they had committed real estate fraud. In 2010, they obtained emails suggesting that Ivanka and Jr. had knowingly exaggerated sales figures to attract buyers and investors. Despite mounting evidence, the criminal case was never brought to trial. And after a 2-year investigation, the DA declined to prosecute, a decision that later drew criticism and scrutiny, especially when it was revealed that his personal attorney, Mark Kazowitz, had donated to the DA's campaign around that time. So basically, he bribed someone and didn't get prosecuted for this. No criminal charges were filed, but the organization and its partners faced a civil lawsuit from disgruntled buyers. They agreed to settle the case outside of court, offering partial refunds to more than a dozen buyers. As a part of the settlement, he and his children did not admit any wrongdoing, but the reputational damage lingered. I don't think the reputational damage did linger because he's president of the United States. So, perfect. Yikes.
$250 million civil fraud trial against the former president and his business took an even more personal turn today. As we mentioned in the last hour, that guy, that was Donald Trump Jr., the ex-president's oldest son, took the stand this afternoon, answering questions about his responsibilities as Trump Org executive vice president. Donald Trump Jr., who's not just a witness but also a defendant in the case, was the first of the Trump family members expected
Eric
to take
is so
the stand
ugly.
over the next week.
I mean, like they kind of all
In the
are,
middle
but
of the
Eric
night,
especially.
The ex-president posted on his social media platform a message to the judge in this case to leave his kids alone.
They're adults. They're executives and adults.
They are current and or former high-level employees of the Trump Organization, who, according to New York Attorney General Letitia James's lawsuit, were deeply enmeshed in the fraud scheme. Quote, as executive vice presidents, the 3 children were intimately involved in the operation of the Trump
If you don't want people to mess
business.
with your kids,
They were
don't
aware of the true
make them
financial
executive vice
performance of the
presidents in your
company,
fraudulent real
whether
estate
through
plans.
Donald Trump Jr.'s
Pretty
work
easy.
on commercial leasing, Ivanka Trump's work on Doral, Trump Chicago and the old post office, or Eric Trump's work on the golf course portfolio. The lawsuit adds this, quote, and in their roles as executive vice presidents, each of the 3...
Boring. I'm ready to move on. Controversial Eastern European tour. Starting in the early 2000s, he and his organization made several efforts to license his name and explore development opportunities in Eastern European countries experiencing rapid economic growth following the collapse of the Soviet Union. Russia. He had long expressed interest in developing properties in Moscow and St. Petersburg. He visited Russia multiple times in 1996 and in 2007. Later, during discussions about the proposed Tower Moscow project, although the project was never realized, emails and communications later revealed they were actively pursuing the deal as late as 2016 during his presidential campaign. Ukraine. Trump representatives, including his lawyer Michael Cohen, were reportedly involved in talks with Ukrainian contacts regarding potential business opportunities, but nothing concrete materialized. Georgia. In 2012, Trump... Oh, I said his name, I'm sorry. He partnered with local developers to launch the Tower Batumi project. He visited Georgia and met with the president, promoting a luxury tower on the Black Sea coast. However, the project never moved beyond the announcement stage and was quietly shelved. I'm sorry to the Eastern Europeans. Imagine recovering from the USSR and this guy comes along. What the fuck is an executive vice president? I thought vice president was like an important job title. It's apparently not. Let me look up executive vice president. An executive vice president is a high-ranking corporate executive who reports directly to the CEO and oversees a specific area of the business. So literally the vaguest possible definition ever. Controversy, oligarch ties, and money laundering concerns. Many of his Eastern European contacts included wealthy businessmen with ties to government elites, raising red flags about the source of funds. Investigative reports also raised questions about the money laundering, especially in real estate deals. Branded properties in the region and elsewhere were allegedly used to clean illicit funds, although he has denied any involvement or wrongdoing. Political connections. His meetings with political figures in the region, including Russian oligarchs and former Soviet bloc leaders, led to criticism that he was cozying up to authoritarian regimes or exploiting weak regulatory governments. I don't think he needs to cozy up to the authoritarian regime. I think that call's coming from inside the house, I fear. The Moscow investigation. This became a focal point into the Mueller investigation into the Russian election interference. The fact that Trump pursued, I keep saying his name, I'm off my game, it's the fucking contact man. The fact that he continued pursuing this deal during his presidential campaign in 2016 while publicly denying any business ties to Russia was seen to critics as a serious conflict of interest. Multiple associates, including Michael Flynn, Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort, came under scrutiny for their contacts with Eastern European and Russian officials, some of which stemmed from or were connected to the earlier business in the region. I am no longer in a forest and back in an apartment complex. I love urban nature. Moving on to Ivanka, his pride and joy. She is the eldest daughter of him and his first wife, Ivana. She was born in 1981. She began her education at the Chapman School in Manhattan before transferring to Rosemary Hall, a prestigious boarding school in Connecticut. All his kids get sent to boarding school. He hates them. Ivanka described it as academically intense and highly structured, an environment that contrasted with her cosmopolitan upbringing in New York City. After high school, she enrolled in Georgetown, where she studied for 2 years before transferring to Wharton. One thing that always stuck with me is that you should never have everyone go to the same school. Like, if you're running a business and all of you went to the same school and had the exact same training and have the exact same degree, you're going to have a lot of blind spots. You work, like, the best businesses are run by people that all have really different areas of expertise because they help each other avoid problems. So the fact that you and all of your children went to the same school, not great. She graduated in 2004 with a bachelor's degree in economics. Following graduation, she worked outside of the family business, taking a position at Forest City Ratner, a real estate development firm. So she got some experience independent of her father, but then, of course, joined his organization as executive vice president of development and acquisitions. She was involved in a lot of high-profile real estate projects, branding and development initiatives. In addition to her business career, she launched the Ivanka brand, a fashion and lifestyle line aimed at professional women, became a familiar face in the media, particularly as a boardroom judge on her father's reality show, The Apprentice. Her early career blended real estate, fashion, and public relations, positioning her as both a businesswoman and a prominent figure in the family, and the media image for the family. So she had this lifestyle brand. It was launched in 2007, focusing on jewelry, and then they expanded into clothes, shoes, handbags, and other fashion items. They went into Target, often framed out women who work. They were sold at major retailers like Nordstrom, Macy's, Lord & Taylor, I don't know what that is, Amazon, and Zappos. So, like, the brand was places, technically. But they closed it in 2018, and she said she did not know if she would ever return to the business because she cited her government responsibilities and a desire to focus on public service. But other factors contributed to the close. 1, conflict of interest. 2, tons of people started boycotting it and dropping it. So following the grab 'em moment where people said, grab your wallet and stop spending money on his brands, a lot of people stopped with the Ivanka brand as well. And Nordstrom dropped the brand in 2017, citing poor sales, but it became more politically charged when the man publicly criticized the decision. I thought you wanted people to leave your kids alone. Why are you talking about it? Lord & Taylor is Nordstrom's for grandmas. Oh, okay. They also had ethics concerns. The brand was granted trademarks in China around the same time that Ivanka met with Chinese officials in her White House role, raising alarm bells about potential influence peddling or unethical business advantages. They had a temporary spike during political debates, but the decline was worse than the spikes were good, I guess.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ivanka Trump.
Tonight, Ivanka Trump's clothing line is out of fashion.
In an announcement today, the president's daughter
veneers
said her
kill me.
company, which is named after her and featured her initials in its logo, is shutting down. The apparel line, which Trump launched in 2014 before her father's run for president, sold women's wear online and in department stores. In a statement, the president's daughter said she didn't know, quote, if I will return to the business, but I do know that my focus for the foreseeable future will be the work I'm doing here in Washington. But Trump's brand has been embroiled in controversy since the presidential election, in part because all of the products were made overseas, even though her father has touted his desire to bring jobs back to the U.S.
1 year ago, I introduced my father when he declared his candidacy.
During her 2016 speech
Why
at
is she the
Republican
first
National
lady?
Convention, Trump wore a dress from her line, which he
Ew,
later
why did he
highlighted
touch her
on
waist
Twitter.
like that?
And last February, counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, hawked Ivanka products during a live TV interview.
Go buy Ivanka's stuff. It's a wonderful line. I own some of it. I'm going to just
This is so embarrassing. Our country is a QVC country.
You can find it online.
This
is a
Conway
QVC
was later
nation.
rebuked by the Office of Government Ethics, which called her endorsement a, quote, clear violation of her position. Profits of the brand initially rose in the months immediately following the election, but have since declined, according to a person with direct knowledge. Several retailers, including Nordstrom, have stopped carrying the clothing line. Nordstrom saying in February 2017, its decision was due to slowing sales. Just days after that decision, President Trump attacked Nordstrom on Twitter, tweeting, my daughter Ivanka has been treated
so unfair.
by
She's a
Nordstrom.
great person.
Always
A great
pushing her to do the
person.
right thing. Terrible. And 2 months ago, Ivanka Trump faced renewed criticism after the fashion brand scored 7 new trademarks in China while the president was engaged in trade talks with the country. So, Wolf, bottom line, this is sparking speculation that Ivanka Trump may want to run for office in the future. We'll have to see what happens.
Who said that?
Certainly a lot of those questions. Hi, everyone.
Who said that? Labor and ethical concerns, all of her products were made overseas in China, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and India. Outsourcing these regions was in contrast to the America First rhetoric of the administration. So, like we said, lots of hypocrisy there. And the factories had troubling conditions. In 2016 and 17, reports emerged about Chinese factories producing her goods. Workers were earning less than $1 an hour and forced to work excessive overtime and had limited rights. A labor watchdog group, China Labor Watch, documented poor safety conditions, verbal abuse, and illegal overtime in facilities that facilities tied to her supply chain. So not her facilities, but facilities that she was getting products from. In 2017, 3 Chinese labor activists investigated one of these factories and were detained by authorities, leading to international outcry. Critics called on Ivanka to intervene, but she remained largely silent on the issue. Inside the Chinese firm that makes her shoes.
This worker in southern China earns only about $400 a month, making shoes for American brands like Ivanka Trump. And yet the first daughter's shoes usually sell in the U.S. for at least $100 a pair. It's a common story in China's manufacturing heartland. Make them cheap, sell them for a lot more.
Ivanka is a very good client, but of course, I never imagined her father would become president.
John's workers are busy.
I love when
turning
people
out high-end
decenter
brands at
America.
several
It's my
locations,
favorite.
Polishing, screwing, hammering, pair after pair, hour after hour, 6 days a week. They get meals here, and many live here too. A whole
They
life
live there?
inside one compound. The
Ah.
company, John says, makes Ivanka's shoes at a similar factory a few hours away.
Though they're not made here, Ivanka Trump brand shoes do come through this
This is the
facility
nice
before
factory.
being
They didn't
exported.
let 'em in the bad
They're among
one.
some of the 12 million pairs each year that get loaded onto trucks like this one that are bound for ships, most of which are headed to the United States.
CNN asked to see the factory where Ivanka's shoes are made, but our request was declined. John said
Shocker.
that's in part because the brand doesn't want to publicize its China operations.
Mm.
The brand didn't respond to requests for comment. Now an official member of her father's White House, Ivanka has stepped down from managing her clothing line, retaining an ownership stake. But the potential for conflicts of interest remain. Her lawyer told CNN, quote, if there were a trade agreement that was specific enough to focus on a tariff in a country where her clothing is being made, She should not participate in that. Given what the president campaigned on, though, that could be more than a hypothetical.
China's taking our jobs, our money. China, which has been ripping us off, and we have a trade deficit with China $500 billion a year.
The president regularly threatened slapping tariffs on Chinese imports throughout the 2016 campaign. He's not done so since taking office, but they could be high on the agenda when he meets China's president for the first time in Florida.
And now here we are. It took him a while, but he got
Trump argues
there.
Tariffs could send factory jobs like these back to the U.S.
It's not a binary choice. It's not China or America. There's a lot of in between.
Thanks, Ben.
Ben Schwal helps American businesses produce goods in China. He agrees a tariff on Chinese imports could force these jobs elsewhere, not to the U.S., but to countries like Bangladesh or Vietnam instead, where production costs are even lower than China. As for tariffs, Schwal says they're an easy campaign talking point, but in the end, they make imports more expensive.
You're gonna pay more. You're gonna pay more.
Oh my God, the way it's literally been the whole time. Stop, I'm scared. The Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative. This was designed to empower women, advance them in leadership, increase access to leadership and training, yada, yada, yada. Their stated goal was to reach 50 million women in developing countries by 2025. Did they do it? It was described as a bipartisan effort to improve the lives of women globally through economic empowerment. Ivanka was instrumental in launching it. Critics noted the disconnect between the administration's policies at home, such as limiting access to women's health care, with the goal of empowering women abroad, and some question whether the administration's rhetoric truly aligned with the actions that would benefit women. I'm going to go with no. Did they ever do anything? I'm going to look this up. Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative. Is that what it was? Development and Prosperity. It's on the archives website. Yeah, I don't see anything after 2020 about it. Yeah, and it's literally on the archive website, so I guess they abandoned this. I don't think they reached their 50 million women by 2025. It just, the website talks about goals. It doesn't talk about any impact, and it's, like I said, on the archive. I'll put it in the chat if you want it. There you go. Peruse at your leisure. Oh my God, we're almost done. Moving on to his other son, Eric, the one I was saying is ugly. So he was born January 6th. Not it being his birthday. Do you think his dad said happy birthday that day? 1984, he's the third child. He attended Hill School, which is another boarding school in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Then after high school, he went to Georgetown, where he got a bachelor's of science in finance and management from the McDonough School of Business. Unlike his sister, who transferred to Wharton, he completed all 4 years at Georgetown. Following graduation, he was, again, executive vice president of real estate development and acquisitions for his father's organization. So he has pretty much just been working in the family business the entire time. He's never had his own job. So Dominican Republic Resort Project, the project at Cap Cana in the DR stands as the most notable, one of the most notable international ventures, with Eric playing a significant role in the development and attempted revival. It was initiated in 2007. The project was a collaboration between the organization and the Housery family, prominent Dominican developers. The plan was to establish a luxury resort. In the 2008 crisis, this impacted the progress. In 2012, tensions escalated when the family organization filed a lawsuit against the Housery family, alleging mismanagement and undisclosed property sales. Eric served as the organization's executive vice president, was actively involved in this legal action, expressing strong criticism of the developer's practice. The dispute was eventually settled confidentially in 2013. Despite the prior conflicts, he visited the site in February 2017, shortly after his father assumed the presidency. This visit signaled potential to revive the project, with the Housery family expressing enthusiasm about renewing their partnership with the organization. Eric said, "We would like to begin a new phase of development," indicating a desire to move forward. The president pledged to avoid new foreign business deals during this tenure made this particularly concerning. The organization maintained that this was not a new venture, but a continuation of the original agreement. Nonetheless, the situation highlighted how kind of fucked up this was. Imagine your daddy being so full of himself that he fuels an insurrection and doesn't even give you a card. Involvement in a fraud case. As a senior executive, Eric was involved in various aspects of the organization's operations. Lawsuits claimed that he and other executives knowingly submitted false financial statements that overstated the value of properties and assets. These inflated evaluations were used to obtain better loan terms and insurance coverage, resulting in substantial financial benefits for the company. The court found Eric was intimately involved in lying about the values of property to make his father appear wealthier than he was. It's giving embarrassment. During the trial, Eric testified that he was unaware of the details of his father's financial statements. But I thought you were an executive vice president who knew so much about business. Why didn't you know what was going on then? That's not really adding up for me. He claimed that he relied on accountants and other professionals to handle such matters. However, evidence presented in court that he had knowledge of and participated in the preparation of misleading financial documents. The judge noted that the defendants failed to accept responsibility or implement internal controls to prevent future occurrences of submitting false financial data. So damn. Yikes on that. In February 2024, a judge ruled that him and his companies were liable for $354.8 million in disgorgement of ill-gotten gains. Eric and Jr. were each ordered to pay $4 million. Additionally, Eric was barred from serving as any officer or director of any New York corporation for a period of 2 years. The judgment also included appointment of an independent monitor to oversee the organization's financial reporting and compliance. This measure aimed at preventing future fraudulent activities and ensuring transparency in the company's operations. The family has appealed the decision, arguing that the case was politically motivated and that no harm was caused by the financial statements. The New York Appellate Division reduced the bond from $464 million to $175 million a little over a year ago and stayed the bans ordered by the original judge. As of May 2025, the appeal remains under consideration and the final outcome of the case is TBD. Eric's involvement in the fraud case has had a significant impact on the implications for his role in the organization and his public image. The case highlights the importance of corporate governance and accountability in large family-run businesses of oligarchs. So, that was this bitch-ass family. They're failures, and I hate it here, and I don't know why they're in charge. Well, I do know why they're in charge. It's because of a lot of reasons that we could discuss for many hours, but those things are depressing. So let's just play our little freaking Nearpod game as we do. Let me put the link in the chat for you. Ba-bam. Ba-bam. And let me put the thing so you can pick your little character, people, and I'll put the code back up. We're going to do underwater because this family is in so much debt and our country is in so much debt and we're just kind of screwed. And isn't that so fun and crazy? Piss off, they're breaking the Capitol windows now. So if you don't know, at the end of all of my streams, we do this fun little trivia game moment. I'm sorry that my contact kept just like folding inside my eyeball. I feel like I was a lot less fun tonight and we moved super fast, but I still think this was good to share. It was tough to get through because I hate talking about them, but I'm a journalist before anything. So I'll give you a few minutes to join. Let me see what's going on in the multi-stream chat. I was not there all night tonight. I'll enter the Nearpod thing there too. Ugh, I hate having allergies and I hate my contact being fucked up and I'm ready for school to be done. I've seen what I've needed to see. Let's wrap this year on up. We're good. We are good. 3 of you are already there. I want a snack. What do I want? Any thoughts on the new Pope? I was shocked he's from the US. I really do not have any thoughts on the new Pope. One thing I am annoyed at is that that's all they're talking about on the news. Every night I turn on the news. The Pope! The Pope! Today, one of my students said the funniest fucking thing. I was literally sitting at my desk, working, minding my business, and they were talking about the Pope. I was not involved. And one kid says to another kid, he goes, "What do you think of the new Pope?" And she turned and goes, "I don't follow politics. I don't know anything about the new Pope." And I just started laughing, and I was like, the Pope is not a politician. And then this other girl was like, if you think about it, he's a political figure, because if he endorsed someone, that would be a big deal. And I was like, okay, you're right in a sense, but I still wouldn't call him a political figure. I said I would call him a global leader, because to me, a political figure is someone who has a political role. And I don't think the Pope is supposed to be political, no? But I said that she had a good point. Still love that the octopus character wears an underwater helmet. Naturally. Naturally. Dun, 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 dun. One of my videos is getting a lot of views right now. That's always so fun and exciting for me. And my head hurts so bad and feels so weird because of this contact. I think I put one of them on inside out. I'm like kind of over it with contacts. I'm trying to get rid of this bed frame in our house, and I thought I had a lead on someone to come get it, but I don't. Because I don't want to pay someone to come get it. Like, you can have it for free. Just come get it. I just can't bring it to you. I'm sorry. And people are like, can you bring it? No, I'm sorry. I don't have the capacity for that. I don't have a truck. I don't have it. Now people are talking shit on Facebook about each other's cars. It's a lot going on. The Pope used to be more political with monarchies and stuff. Yeah, that's what I thought. But I feel like now is the Pope political? Hot take. We should have a discussion about that. Do you guys like field day? I hate a field day, personally. Did you finish the grad school? Yes and no. I did finish and technically graduate, but the stuff for my certification, my part is done. What I was supposed to do, I'm done with. But it still has to get sent to the state for my certification to be done and like finally approved. So like I'm done, but it's not done. And like I know, oh, graduation. I don't go about that graduation. I don't go about the master's degree. I care about my certification. That's all I care about. So my professors sent out these emails. They were like, congratulations. And I was like, on what? On what? What? So until that's done, which it should be done in like 2 weeks, that's when I'll really achieve inner peace. Oh my God, today my class asked me if we had a vice president, speaking of JD Vance. They're like, do we have a vice president? And I was like, yeah, we do have a vice president. And I pulled up a picture of him. Oh my God, this is gonna make y'all laugh so fucking hard. So I show my class a picture of JD Vance. I literally just took like the main portrait on the government websites. And I was like, yeah, this is our vice president. His name is JD Vance. Like, he's the vice president. And this one girl goes, he looks like that guy from that movie. And I was like, gonna need you to give me a little more than that. Like, I don't know what guy. And then she looks at her friend and she was like, that movie we were watching, doesn't he look like that guy? And she was like, no, he doesn't. She was like, they're both just funny looking white dudes. Like, they don't really look alike. And so I was like, you need to figure out what movie this is because I want to know. So she's Googling, she's trying to figure out the movie. I'm like, look on IMDb. Do you know someone that's in the movie? And so I show her how IMDb works. So she's like typing away on her little Chromebook, whips it around after a couple minutes and shows me and goes, this guy, he looks like this guy from the movie. You are not going to believe what man was on her computer screen. Leonardo DiCaprio. I was like, we've made it as a society. The girls no longer find Leonardo DiCaprio attractive. And I was telling them, I was like, do you know who that is? And she was like, no, he was just in this movie we watched. And I was like, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. And she was like, who's that? And I was like, he was in Titanic. He was like a heartthrob back in the day. And I was like, now he's kind of a joke because he always dates really young women. And then he dumps them whenever they turn like 25 or 26. Like I was giving them all the love. Oh, the new Pope talked about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza in his intro speech so that could affect people who follow the church. I did see that. It does seem like this Pope, like, you can only be so progressive as the Pope. But, yeah. Now, why did the stream lag right when you revealed his name? Ugh, lame. Also, hell yeah to the irrelevancy. All right, I'm gonna start the game. If you missed it, it was Leonardo DiCaprio. That's who they think looks like JD Vance. And knowing that those two men are in the same category to America's youth, I was like, y'all are gonna be okay. Y'all are going to be okay. I want to learn how to Dutch braid. Low-key, his official pick does look like Leo. No, like, it was literally, I was like, you're kind of right. Like, I see it. You guys are doing good at the game. I'm proud of you. I can't wait to take these contacts out. I'm sorry. I'm being a bad leader tonight. I want to see... Oh, fuck. If I turn my computer, can you see the... Oh no, is that the right way? There's a map of the United States right there. You can't see the whole thing. My computer won't turn that far. It'll knock everything over, but it's a good map. Y'all better get this right. We talked about it for a while. Atlantic City! How far is Atlantic City from New York? Is it far? Like New York, New York. Oh no, it's 2 hours away. Why is Philadelphia right there? The whole northeast part of the map really does kind of piss me off. Like, it really genuinely does, because there's so many big cities so close together, and I find it very upsetting. And they all go so far that way. Like, why is New York City all the way down there, but then New York State is like the whole rest of the thing that's like not even nearby? New York City is basically inside of New Jersey. And then like Long Island, that's part of New York? I'm sorry. What's Connecticut doing? Rhode Island is 1 square inch. And then the rest of it's just Canada. Delaware, also 1 square inch. When you do the house buying video, can you talk about how to find a good realtor? Yes, I can, but also it's kind of hard. I'll be honest with you. Ours was good. My biggest advice for finding a good realtor is knowing a realtor that you actually trust. Like, I kind of lucked out. The realtor we used, I actually personally know her. I worked with her at a different job. So like, I've seen how she is at work behind the scenes and always felt like she was very ethical and like transparent, and that's why I picked her, and she did a great job. So that's, I guess, like, try and get a personal recommendation. That's my advice. To find a good realtor, find someone you know that really liked their realtor and ask for a personal recommendation. That's what I would do. Oh, the number questions are always hard. Most of his were 1 year to 2 years. That seems like his usual timeline. Not for his current venture, but most of them. Ugh. Allergies, the contacts. I'm struggling. Also, Texas is like high-key inside of Mexico. I guess it was Mexico, and there was a whole war about that, huh? But still, like, why don't... I like maps. And then Michigan, Wisconsin, get up. Why don't y'all have that little piece? That should not... How'd that happen? How did that happen to y'all? It's cold as fuck in Minnesota. All of the states with like good education and low cost of living, it's cold. Like, apparently Minnesota is like great for teachers, allegedly. I don't think anywhere is, if we're being honest though. I think we're suffering everywhere. My realtor is a family friend. Yeah, like, it needs to be someone that you trust and you've trusted for a while, because most real estate agents are garbage. Do you guys think that you could fill in a blank map of the United States? My students asked me that, and I said I think I could do most of it, but I told them I think I would mess up like Utah, Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, Iowa, Missouri. Like I was like, I think I'd mess up the middle. Like Nevada I've got, Idaho I've got, I think Arizona and New Mexico I've got down, Oklahoma, yeah. But Wyoming and Colorado, I can't tell you I would be able to do that perfect with no aids. Alrighty. Nice job raising the stakes. Kamika hates the Cheeto family. Saturn Cat, Miss Not Retracted, Fayevelson, Mariah, Liz, Melly Lynn, a former hotel parking lot, literally why, Michelle, Michaela, Goose, Steven, Iris, a Wendy's drive-thru, Not My President, and iPhone storage. Nice job. Anybody have any memes, anything to add, anything that I missed that you wanted to bring up? Like I said, this was not a fully exhaustive list. We just kind of took some of the more notable ones or ones that have been discussed in the media and kind of went for it. Oh, I just pulled a singular piece of hair. That really hurt. Right now I'm watching Gypsy Sisters, and so I'm inclined to add to the list. Let me actually go ahead and do this for our stream schedule. I want to do a stream about American gypsies. That's one thing that I think would be very interesting and very good for society. And I know a lot of people say that gypsy is a slur, but they were calling themselves that, so on the show. And I know like TV's not perfect, but like, is that allowed? Question mark. And we'll watch clips, obviously. Maybe actually, I'm going to put that as TBD. I want to finish the show before I do it. So I lied. It's not going to be soon, but the show's only 4 seasons, so I should get through that in a couple weeks if we're being honest. Agati Casino, the Taj Mahal. I'll give people a few more moments to add their memes. I live near a large group of travelers. What's your experience been, a Publix parking lot? It's still so bright outside for it being 8:40. I think most people would do fine in southern Minnesota, honestly. Winter is not bad, and it's an amazing place to live. That's really far north. I don't think I would do fine. I don't. I almost went crazy, like full crazy, because I was stuck inside for 2 days because of snow. 2 days. Third day, I went to Dunkin' Donuts and risked my life just to leave the house. I think traveler is the more commonly accepted term right now. I guess you're right. Because they're not actual Romani people. Used to be so into the Gypsy Sisters and Gypsy weddings. They get married young. It's questionable. All right, well, I will leave us there. Thank you so much for being here. Always a highlight of my week, even though my contact and the internet were preying on our downfall. I will see you next week. Next week's going to be a good one with random lore and gossip. So yeah, I'll see you then.